Okay, here we are, Austin Kemp. We are at First String Sports. Last time we were here, we did our all Clovis football team, and that was fantastic.
Yeah, it was a hit.
It was a
I think it was a hit.
No,
yeah,
it was.
It was a hit. It was.
Kids loved it. We got a lot of great feedback, so that was a real fun thing that we did. And now that we're transitioning to basketball, we thought we'd keep it rolling.
All right, I'm ready to go. I think it's a great idea too. We got a basketball guy right here with Paul, and I'm just kind of the. I'll tell you my thoughts as I see them. I'm not really a huge basketball.
Yeah,
type
well,
guy.
I mean, Austin's clutching up here.
Right.
Because, admittedly so, he's a football, baseball guy.
Right.
Right, and this is a little bit out of his element. This is in my element, talking about basketball.
Right, right.
You've been to a few games this year, you've written a couple articles, you've done some highlights, and so, yeah, we got to applaud you, Austin, for diving straight in.
I'm just trying to get this one out for all of you. I'm just, again, I don't really have the X's and O's down at all of basketball, but if I see something, I will say it.
Okay, cool, awesome. So, we're here to talk about basketball here. Our football show was called the RPO show, and I don't know how that transitions well to basketball. We thought about, well, maybe we could call it the dribble drive show or something like that, but, I don't know, it's something that Coach Wahlberg coined.
Right.
So I don't know if you'd be too happy
maybe
calling it
I'll
that.
think of it as we go today. Maybe it'll come to us just naturally.
Okay.
And if it doesn't, then we'll spend some time after talking about it.
Okay, so we'll just call this the Clovis Sports Report basketball opening show, even though we're more than halfway through the basketball season.
We're like 20 plus games in.
Yeah, we're 20 plus games in. And the interesting thing too about basketball that's a little frustrating is because with football games, right, it's once a week, you go to a game, there's a game to go to, but with non-league with basketball, teams are going all over California, out of state, so sometimes we're not able to see some of the teams before league starts. Actually, I think we actually were able to do that, but to get a real good grip of the games, that's what league is about.
Yeah, and it's like speaking of traveling, we didn't see Clovis East for the first time until 2 weeks ago because they were in Florida, they were in San Diego,
they had one home game before.
Yeah, they had one home game in November and December combined. So yeah, that's what makes just basketball a little bit tough.
So I feel like with the 10 teams that we've covered, the 5 boys and 5 girls, I think we have a pretty good beat on each team. So I was just going to run down kind of where we're at, run down some standings. For the boys, we got Clovis West at 18-3, 3-0. We got Clovis North 15-6, 2-1 in league. We got Buchanan 12-10. We didn't expect much from Buchanan this year. We're going to talk about them, and 2-1 in league. Clovis East, one of the top teams. They're 14-7 overall, but they're 1-2 in league. We're going to talk about a couple of their overtime losses in league. Central is a very good, young, talented team. They're 12-7, 1-2 in league, and then Clovis High 10-9 and 0-3 in league. That's the boys. For girls, we got the State Power Clovis West girls at 18-4 overall, 3-0 in league. Clovis High 17-4 and 3-0 in league. They had a big win over Clovis North. We're going to talk about Buchanan girls 15-6, 2-1. Clovis North, who is state ranked and still actually is state ranked at number 15, is 15-6 and 1-2 overall. Central's 11-10, 0-3, and Clovis East 5-15 and 0-3. So, like I said, we're already 20 games in. The first round of games are gonna be played this week, and then they're gonna play each other again starting next week.
Right.
So yeah, I think if we start with the boys, you start with Clovis West. They're the defending champs. They had that that epic win last year over Bullard in overtime, and they keep winning. Coach Wahlberg's team, led by Cole Anderson, is one of the top players in the state for his class. He's a junior. He's averaging about 27 a game. He's lethal. They're 19-4 now because they won tonight
a few minutes ago, 70-69 over Bakersfield Christian in the MLK tournament, I think they call it.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a weird time because they turn around and play a game tomorrow, a track game. So I don't know, maybe there's a trap in there somewhere, but we'll see.
Yeah. It's always interesting when they play like these showcase games, these Saturday games. It kind of throws them off. One of the hot words now or phrases is load management. So,
Right.
you know, you want to have your players fresh for league and for the playoffs. And so, you know, you just kind of wonder some of these Saturday, Monday games if it kind of throws them off a bit. But
Yeah, it just kind of throws you out of your routine, and we see it in, like when it comes to baseball season too. It's just like awkwardly placed games, and it's just like you play a high energy game on a Friday night, then you go out of town on Saturday.
Yeah.
Or in this case, you play a tough game on a Monday. Now you got to get right back into the track tomorrow night.
Yeah.
It can be tough for a teenager to kind of deal with.
And if you kind of look at the boys, how the boys have the top 3 teams that we think are Clovis West, Clovis North, and Clovis East, and they've played each other already. And check this out. I don't think this has happened ever. It'd be hard to trace this back in. When's the last time that all 3 of those teams, when they've played each other, they've all gone to overtime?
Right. In like consecutive games.
Yeah.
Yeah, in consecutive games
Yeah.
too. Yeah. So that's nuts.
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
Yeah.
Right.
You would think that somebody would, you know, flick one in at the buzzer or something in regulation.
Yeah, just
but-
like what we were talking about before the show. Like that's like all those overtime games we're seeing right now. That's a difference of one made shot in regulation. It's crazy how tight these teams are at the top.
One free throw, one made shot, you know, somebody, you know, grabbing a rebound and putting back up at the buzzer, but that hasn't happened in regulation. So Clovis West beat Clovis North to open up league, 75-67. That was at Clovis North, and those were epic type games. Those were playoff, maybe I shouldn't say epic, but those were playoff caliber games. The first game of TRAC, right? And we were right there for both. We were at the scores table. Austin was doing the stats, and I was doing highlights and writing some things down. But man, and the girls' game before that was a great game as well. So with that boys' game, you know, going back to that, how did that game feel? I mean, there was probably 3,500 people.
Yeah, it was like shoulder to shoulder in the stands. It was loud, and I've seen all the Clovis schools play this year, and it was the 2 most athletic teams in the track. They all got after it on defense, and both teams have high level players. Like I'm looking at some of those guys like Cole Anderson. I know Jaron Carr isn't tall, but he gets after it. He's always getting after it, diving everywhere, D'ing people up. And then Clovis North, they have at number 12. You might need to help me with this name, but David Opoku.
Okay, so no, let me go back.
Correct me.
All right, I'm going to correct you.
Right.
So it is A.K. Okereke.
A.K. Okereke.
Right.
Number 10. Number 10. Number 12 is David Opoku Bobbio.
Yeah.
Those 2 kids are like the most athletic kids I have seen, just D'ing people up. Like when you look at those guys on the court, they're so physically imposing. It's like you put those 2 guys and it's like, hey, go guard the other team's 2 best players, and I feel like you're going to have quite a bit of success.
Well, when you talk about Clovis North, they have the best front court, and you throw in there 6'7" TERRI Miller, 200 and probably 40, 50 pounds, who can move people and is agile, and he can definitely step up and make a shot. He's actually made some threes this year. So when you got that type of a front court, and then you got a couple shooters as well. You got Samuel Saber, and you got Malachi Henry, who are great shooters. And when Clovis North plays Clovis West in the second round of the league, that is going to be a battle. They might go to overtime again.
It's going to be high level, and TERRI Miller fouled out the first time against Clovis West. It was like mid to early 4th. There was like 6 or 7 minutes left in that quarter, and he was dominating before he fouled out. And I'm not so sure that Clovis West wins that game if TERRI Miller fouls out, because that dude was dominating. He had 14 or 15 rebounds with more than a half a quarter to still to play. He could have had 20 rebounds.
Yeah.
And so that front court, just like you said, is loaded.
And Clovis East. So then Clovis North and Clovis East play an overtime game that I went to, and Clovis North pulled it out 76-65. Then another overtime game last week, Clovis West and Clovis East. Clovis West wins 66-61. So unfortunately, Clovis East is 0-2 in overtime game. They could very easily be 2-0.
Yeah, like they could be right there. That's one regulation shot made away from being at the top of the track right now.
Yeah. Before the year, I thought perhaps 8-2 might win the league. If not, maybe 7-3 might win this league. That's kind of how tight those are. And then we talk about Clovis East. Adrian Wiggins is their coach, right? And they, Cole Anderson gets a lot of very deserved press and pub, because he's got Division I offers and he's a phenomenal shooter. But on Clovis East side, they got a guy by the name of Jamal Pittman who scored 22 points in the first half against West on Friday, and he looked unstoppable. And Wahlberg came out and clamped some things up on defense and denied him the ball a little bit more and shut down the lane, so they were able to subdue Pittman. But he's as talented as are in the whole Valley, not only the league but the Valley. He's left-handed, he's a slasher, so I'm impressed by Pittman. And then Adrian Wiggins' son Will is an excellent ball handler and makes the team go, a 3-year varsity guy. And they got shooters too over there at Clovis East. So yeah, I expect more of the same in round 2.
Yeah,
between those
and
teams.
speaking of Wiggins, I feel like a couple of people just like tell me like Wiggins is a dude that you hate to have play against you, but he's a guy that you love to have on your team because he just does not go away.
Yeah.
He's so relentless with everything he does, and it bugs the heck out of you when he's against you.
Yeah.
And he just does a ton of dirty work and just kind of leads that charge a little bit.
And in that Clovis West loss, he actually fouled out. So talking about fouling out, he fouled out in that game. I think he even had 2 offensive fouls, which hurt him. But he fouled out, I think, in the fourth quarter of that game. And so, like when Miller fouled out, against Clovis West, for Clovis North, I think that played a huge role in that. When you lose your point guard and a savvy player like Wiggins is, that definitely hurts.
Yeah, and most teams in this area just don't have that depth to just plug and play the next guy.
Yeah, and then if we talk about Buchanan, you've seen Buchanan boys play a couple times
I
now.
have.
They definitely don't pass the eyeball test, do they?
No, they don't.
They have one, when I talked to their coach, Brooks Mound, who coached at the college level the last couple of years, and talked to him about, well, what do you like about your team, some of your star players? He said, really, Paul, we got Charlie, who works his butt off and is our best player, which everybody knows. But he's like, I got a bunch of blue-collar dudes.
Yeah.
Right? Is that
and that's pretty much what it is. Like, you go out and see Buchanan play, and they have maybe one guy who's over 6 foot. I don't know. Like, just like eyeballing it.
Yeah.
And they just play defense. They slow the game down on offense. I know Brooks has, like you said, prided himself on being a defensive coach, and it seems like the guys are buying in. It just worries me seeing them handle an athletic defense like a Clovis East, which they played pretty tough, but then they'll have this week Clovis North and Clovis West, who's just going to press you all game. I have quite a bit of concern to see how they will handle that press, because the times I have seen it, they've struggled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think if they come out winning one of those 2 games this coming week, I think.
Oh, that's a win.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a win.
I think they'd be obviously
sure.
extremely happy with that. So a little comparative scores there. So Buchanan lost 66 to 58 to Clovis East. So they only lost by 8. Buchanan beat Central 59 to 46, and Clovis West barely beat Central 79 to 75 at home.
Yeah, that Central score, I think, caught both of our eyes, because they've played a few times this year, and I think they've actually split already this year, Buchanan and Central, haven't they?
I'm not sure.
Maybe not. But they've played before. They've played close games, but it's the holding Central to 46 is what surprised me the most, because Central, as you know, they're athletic, and Buchanan was able to D them up. Yeah.
And Clovis High, John Hines over there, they're 10-9 right now, 0-3 in league. We figured that they would struggle during league. They they don't have the athletes or the depth of some of these other schools in here, but they're not a pushover. They're not going to lose games by 40.
Right. They won't. They can shoot a little bit from the outside. They have a few guys that can knock some shots down, but they just lack a little bit of athleticism.
They have a really good player.
Cal
Stilson is a guy that I really enjoy playing. I've seen him play twice, and he's a fun player to watch. He's a scorer. He's a slasher. He could hit a 3. He could drive to the basket. He's savvy that way. So yeah. So looking forward to this week. So Tuesday, we got Clovis North at Central, and we have Clovis at Clovis East, and then we have Clovis West at Buchanan. So I think what we're gonna have our eye on the most regarding the boys is the Clovis West at Buchanan game.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow already. Yeah.
Right.
So we'll see if that defense. Hey, if they can hold Clovis West in the low 60s or something, you never know.
You never know, and I'm not predicting Buchanan to beat Clovis West tomorrow night, but like you said, Clovis West is coming off of now 4, right? After tonight?
3 out of 4, right?
3 out of 4 games that have went to overtime. one of those games was tonight. Now they got to get ready and play a TRAC game tomorrow. That's not the easiest thing in the world. Again, Buchanan, they might not be able to handle Clovis West athleticism, but on defense, if they can get some stops and stay within, I don't know, 6 to 8 throughout the game, and maybe give themselves a chance in the fourth quarter, that could get interesting. And if Buchanan were to pull an upset like that, they're in first place in the TRAC tomorrow night. At the end of the day, if they can find a way to win that game.
And Clovis West, I felt like they haven't blown anybody out yet. Like you said,
like we've
3
expected.
overtime. Yeah, we've expected, maybe a nice 15 to 20 point win.
Right.
Is what something that Clovis West needs to stave away some of these overtime games, because those are stressful.
Yeah, and they were like tonight. They had a chance to put away Bakersfield Christian. They
Division 3 team.
Division 3 team. They were up 11 in the fourth quarter, and then ended up going to OT. So maybe a little bit concerned just closing these games out and running away with it like they should.
Yeah. And then Buchanan on Friday, if we fast forward to Friday a little bit, Clovis North boys at Buchanan. We have Clovis at Clovis West, and then we have Clovis East at Central. So that will conclude the first round of league. So watching quite a few games so far, I'd say the top 3 teams are East, West, and North. We would not be surprised, again, if all those games are tight. Like I said, it could be 8-2, could win the league. I don't see anybody going undefeated. While Clovis West is 3-0, they'd be the only team to go undefeated. But I mean, Clovis North's front court impresses me. Their shooters impress me. They're as talented as anybody in the league. Clovis West is Clovis West. Max Phillips is a very good inside player, gets a lot of buckets. We'd like to see probably a couple more scorers step up. When you're relying a lot of scoring on Cole Anderson, I'm not sure how many points he had tonight, but if Cole happens to have an off night, who's going to step up and make things happen. Clovis East is as tough as can be. So those 3 teams, I think, are going to be some top seeds. Come playoff time, if Buchanan could upset one of those teams, that'd be fun. And then Central, Central played.
They played
Clovis
West the other
top.
night.
And so they'll be a challenge for everybody as well. So there's boys. Now girls, you've seen some girls games too. And
I have.
Yeah, and if that Clovis West, Clovis North girls game, that had state implications. I think at that time, according to Cal High Sports, Clovis North was, I believe, 11 or 12, and Clovis West was 15. Clovis West, they graduated Maddie Campbell and Champney Pulliam and Ari Sanders, who are all playing college ball. And so, there's some question marks. Who's going to lead the team? Is it going to be NIKKI Tom, who is a returning player, is a junior, who's their best player? Is she gonna, have to up her scoring? What's that gonna look like? But man, they keep rolling. They're 18-4. Their 4 losses are out of the section in some of these big tournaments. But we sat at that game, and it was a 5-point game against Clovis North in the fourth quarter.
Right.
Clovis West, they just pulled away at the end, and they're an impressive team.
When you have a culture like the Clovis West girls basketball, it never really. It doesn't leave, and no matter who you graduate, it becomes like a plug-and-play situation. And there's a few schools in different sports in this area that are like that. You just named off all those girls that Clovis West lost last year, and they were great players, but they're keeping the whole thing rolling this year. They might not be as dominant, but they're still winning. They're still being very demanding of their players. Coach Campbell does a phenomenal job. Yeah. And again, it feels just like from an outside looking in, like it's just like a plug and play situation. You plug in the next girl off the bench from the JV team, wherever, she's gonna be able to flourish. Yeah.
What's been impressive to me after all these years, because I covered the girls obviously, through their state championship run, and last year their trip to their home game in the SoCal Open Finals that they lost, and I felt like if they would have won that game, I felt like they would have won state. I mean, they are an elite program.
No, they are.
And when you think about them, like, Coach Campbell expects if the number 13 player on the team is in the game, he expects just as much as the number 1 player, right? He expects them to be in the right spots, do their job. The expectations are just raised, and that's culture.
Yeah,
right?
It's 100% culture. Again, plug and play. Expectations remain the same. Yep.
And Clovis North in that game, Savannah Tucker came in averaging about 28 points a game. I mean, she's just been on a scoring tear this year when she was in the Arizona Tournament of Champions, or the NIKKI Tournament of Champions. I mean, I think was the second leading scorer in that tournament, and really opened some eyes down there with her ability to get to the rack and shoot. She's going to Long Beach State. So they shut her down to 11 points. And then that leads a little bit into the upset of the year.
So far.
So
well, maybe it's not an upset.
Maybe it's not. If we look at their records, so Clovis beat Clovis North in girls. The final was 77-65. And I texted Coach Greg Clark after the game. I said, "Hey, congrats! That's a big win for your program. You know, how did you guys do it, basically, or you know, how many points did so and so score?" And he said, "You know what? Honestly, we had 5 girls scoring double figures, and it was a total team effort."
Yeah.
And you saw them play against. You saw Buchanan and Clovis play. You were there for that game, and that was a game that went what 45-43.
It was around like 45-43. It was a 2-point game, and it was a game that could have went either way for the entire fourth quarter. There was turnovers kind of galore. There was missed open shots, and from both teams. And both coaches talked about that after the game. Like, hey, I promise you, this isn't what we normally look like. It's kind of what was said. But yeah, Clovis High they play like kind of they want to get out there and score points.
Yeah.
And when I saw them, they were not doing that. But against Clovis North, they made the adjustments and started knocking down those open shots. From what it sounds like.
Yeah.
And you have those girls, Avery Evans, Chloe Van Ness, Megan Essler, all these girls who are, I believe, most of them being seniors, and they help provide like that leadership role.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you talk about Buchanan, it's an Adam Wall coach team. So I know Adam from watching him play basketball at Central. I've played a few pickup games with him, and you know, he coaches like his players. You know, he coaches with
his hair on fire.
Yeah,
but Coach, you don't have any hair. I know you're. Sorry, I know you're gonna see this video, but I had to take that little shot.
But they play like he played, right? They're tough. They're tough-minded. You know, they get to the right spots, and so I figured that game, the Clovis Buchanan game, was gonna be just like two hard-nosed coaches.
Yep.
You know, that really teach toughness.
Yep.
I mean, all the coaches do, but those, you know, they've taken on the personality of the coach, and they just got.
And that's how the game was. It was kind of just like it was a slugfest, and you compare kind of both of those coaches, it kind of makes sense why the game turned out like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, we got Clovis at 17-4 overall. I would assume that they're going to break Cal High Sports top 25 this week. You know, especially because they beat Clovis North. Clovis North was 15. Yeah, I think they'll probably be 24 or 25.
Mm-hmm.
So
as they should be.
Yeah. And I said this in my basketball preview as well, that I would venture to say that girls basketball this year in the TRAC, as far as public schools go, is the top league in the state. I don't think there's. I mean,
and Coach Clark said that when I talked to him after the Buchanan game. He said, "Hey, at the time they had 3 teams, or
maybe you read my article.
Maybe you read your article. Yeah, but like they had 3 teams or so ranked in the top 25, top 30-ish area.
Yeah,
and then you have Buchanan, who obviously is right there, kind of with Clovis. So you got 4 legit teams that, I don't know, on any given night that could beat you.
Yeah. And Buchanan, so I wanted to highlight a couple of their players. So Buchanan is Morgan Mathis, right? Who I believe is the school's all-time leading scorer. She's definitely one of their best players. And then Sarah Snyder, right? You saw her. Did she hit some threes in that game?
Yeah, she actually had 3 in that game.
Okay.
And she in big spots too. And so Morgan Mathis, Sarah Snyder, and they have a little point guard. I think it's is it Sienna? How do you say that last name? Do you know how to say that last name? Tumoin.
Okay.
I think it's Sienna Tumoin.
Okay.
Kind of leads that charge on offense and kind of a scrappy player on defense as well.
Okay.
So yeah, just like you said, just well coached and a couple girls that can hit the 3-ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we have Central and Clovis East at the bottom, so they're both 0-3. So one of them will get a win in the first round of the league.
Yeah, eventually.
Eventually
they will.
Eventually.
On that 5th game.
On that 5th game, right?
They will have 1 win.
That's right. So yeah, again, if you guys haven't gone and, well, we haven't even mentioned this. So Clovis Unified went to what's called a 6-pack this year. So a 6-pack means that the girls, for Clovis Unified games, the girls are playing at 5:30 and the boys are playing afterwards. Right? In years past, you kind of had to make a choice on some nights. It's like, oh, do I want to go to the girls' game or the boys' game? And so I think because of that, we've seen some phenomenal crowds.
Yep.
I go back to that Clovis West, Clovis North to start the year was a great crowd for both. I didn't see really too many people leaving, you know. I mean, they stayed for both,
Yeah.
for both games. I saw a great crowd at Clovis East and Clovis West. And when Clovis North comes and plays Clovis West, I don't know, man. They might
They're
have
not going to be able to
fire
fit,
marshal.
They're not going to be able to fit people in that gym. Like,
Yeah.
Clovis North is a way bigger gym, and they were shoulder to shoulder
Yeah.
on both sides. So I don't know what's going to happen out west, but yeah, it's going to be packed.
Yeah, it's gonna be packed. And you know, we talk about, you know, we did our shows about football, and we're definitely gonna be doing about baseball. But for me, crowds are just electric at basketball games, man. There's nothing like it when you got a gym where student sections are cheering back and forth, and you know, you got where you can hear the coaches yelling, and sometimes, I don't know, sometimes you can hear it because of the crowd noise, and every whistle is drawing, you know, a boo or a clap. You know, I mean, to me, there's no better environment at a high level basketball game where there's a big crowd and lots of people. It's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, it just brings kind of the community together. You're rooting for your school, your neighborhood, if you will.
Yeah.
It's great. It's people get into it, and that's how it should be in high school.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you're thinking like you're on the fence, well, maybe I don't have time to go to a girls' game before the boys' game. You know what? I encourage you guys, go to a girls' game.
Go to a girls' game. If you're going to go to a girls' game, this is the year. Because, like we said, there's 4 legit teams in the TRAC. And you're going to see, if either of those Clovis schools are playing Clovis West, Clovis, Buchanan, or Clovis North, you're going to see a good game.
Mm-hmm.
So get out there and go see it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm really looking forward to Friday's game for the girls. We're going to have Clovis High at Clovis West.
Yeah. It's battle for the top spot in the TRAC.
Yeah, it will be. Want to talk a little bit Clovis West. So we mentioned NIKKI Tom, but Aaliyah Sewell is a very good player. She's kind of coming to her own as a senior. Can hit the 3 ball. Can you know, bang a little bit inside. Justice Harris is another girl that gets a lot of rebounds. But yeah, I mean, I think Clovis West is primed for another run through state. You know, Clovis High, the way CIF works is last year, they didn't even make it to the Valley Championship game. The last 2 years it's been Clovis North and Clovis West, but they were still chosen to go to the state playoffs. And they were 1 game away from the Division II, or maybe 3. Division II or Division III state championship last year. I mean, they made it all the way to the final. So, you know, I mean, the quality of basketball here in the Valley is and especially in the TRAC, is as high as I've seen boys and girls top to bottom in a long time. It's going to make for an exciting rest of the season.
Right, and like outside of Cole Anderson is obviously a top player. He's going to have all these offers, but this area doesn't have a ton of athletes like that at basketball, where it's like this guy's going to go to, or a girl's going to go to maybe USC on a consistent basis.
Sure.
But there's a lot of, this year at least, there's a lot of really well coached and good teams that can make a run towards maybe a state championship, or a few that can make a run at a Valley championship. Yeah,
absolutely. Okay, guys. So this is our first shot at doing a basketball show. You know, again, we're very happy that we're able to do this show here at First String Sports. We want to thank them for sponsoring us and making this awesome banner here below. We want to thank all you guys too for your comments and for your likes and retweets and all of our videos. We're having tons of fun still. You know, football ended, but we rolled right into basketball. We're going to be doing a little bit of wrestling. I know on February 6th, Buchanan and Clovis with their big duel. Definitely be there and check that out. And baseball, Austin, we talked a little bit about baseball. It's going to be here before you know it as well. What's our ETA on baseball?
We got 22 days until the Coca-Cola Classic.
You got a little calendar up somewhere?
I have a calendar, and I am checking it off every single day because I'm so excited for it. And I have a huge baseball preview coming out, so just stay tuned on Twitter. Huge. You are going to love it. It's a D1 overview and then team-by-team preview. So if you like baseball, tune in because you're going to love it.
It's going to be magazine quality.
Magazine quality. Without the paper.
Without the paper. So anyway, guys, thanks again for everything. We really appreciate it. I got some fun games coming up this week. Love to see you guys there and say hi. So again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys soon.